Foster RHYNES with Get To Free Press in Valdosta, Georgia. You can hit me up on Facebook and YouTube at Boston G.B.R. This morning, I want to chit-chat about the Quitman 10+2 that were brought up on 119 to 200 voter fraud charges on the 21st of December, 2010. I was in Atlanta when I received that call, and I returned back to Brooks County and walked the streets, and I interviewed people, and it's a part of history now on Boston G.B.R. on YouTube, and as well as kvci.blogspot.com. And the state of Georgia brought those outstanding black Americans, 12 to be exact, up on voter fraud charges. They got the most educated, the most respected families in Brooks County. That's what the state of Georgia did. And when they brought these people up on these charges, bogus charges I may add, to make a long story short, because that's not why I chose to start this video this morning. But look, that fiasco lasted for 4 years and several months. But I want you to know that it is a disgrace what the state of Georgia did. The GBI agent Braswell, according to the people outside of the courtroom during Lula Smart trial, said they lied on the stand. He said that Mr. Boone of the U.S. Post Office in lied on the stand. He talked about the district attorney who the judge told to bring a letter that never got back to the court. So perhaps Pastor Ivory said it best. This was a disgrace, what the state of Georgia did in the case of the Quitman 10+2. However, I must say to you, a few days ago, one of the Quitman 10+2 by the voters in Quitman, they elected the first female of Quitman as mayor of that little small town from which I graduated from. So I want to take this time to congratulate the voters in Brooks County who know that Nancy Dennard is an outstanding person. And I think that by the people electing her proves the point that it is a disgrace for what the state of Georgia is doing across the state. And you know I've done my homework, brothers and sisters. I have done my homework. And I've proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there is a pattern and a practice to keep blacks out of office and to remove them once they are elected by the majority of people. So I want to say to all of the citizens and voters in Quitman and Brooks County, I commend you for standing up with the Quitman 10+2. And after 4 years, all 119 to 200 charges were dropped against those citizens because it was only just another attempt to stop blacks from voting. But we see that that plan did not work. And so, Nancy Dennard, I just want to say thumbs up to you. We want to thank our current mayor, James Charles Brown III, for the work that he has done as mayor. He, too, made history by becoming the first black mayor of Quitman. Now we have another historic figure, Dr. Nancy Dennard, who were elected by the people, won by 714 votes with her tally, and I think her competitor next up was around 300 and something. I can't think of it. But the bottom line is, I want to commend you for standing up and not quitting. So to the voters of Quitman, again and again, a graduate of Washington Street High School, that's me, class of 1970. I am so proud of the people in Brooks County for sticking with the Quitman 10+2. Now, I must say this. I'm not sure if Channel 6, WCTV, I'm not sure if NBC, I'm not sure if ABC have called Nancy Dennard in to do an interview as customary to do. But I will assure you that at some point, to get to the free press, I will interview her. I want to do it because that's what they do when someone else is elected mayor. And all we want and all we have ever asked for in this country is to be treated as any other human beings. And I just believe that the God of our ancestors will make sure that that happens here in the United States of America. Now, before I close, when the Equipment 10+2 was brought up on charges, we thought that that was an isolated case or incident orchestrated by the Secretary of State's office, Brian P. Kemp. We later found out that this is a proven pattern and practice of what the state of Georgia did. So I traveled to Madison, Florida, and I reported on the Madison 9, black people just seeking to vote, to be elected, and to hold public office in the state of Georgia. Then I was called to Meigs, Georgia with Linda Harris, a little small town again, where blacks are now in the majority, not like it used to be. And so when it comes down to blacks being elected and put into office, a white pattern and practice is instituted to try to remove them from office. And CNN, MSNBC, HLN, and the rest of them, 60 minutes, 48 hours, it seems to me that they are proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they do not care about voting rights here in the United States of America. Because if they did, they would come to these areas. Wait a minute. Let me rush right along. I'm going to close this out, I promise. Then I was called to Camilla, Georgia, with Rufus Davis, the mayor of that town. And before Rufus Davis, there was a black mayor. They ran her out of office, and they were still trying to run Mayor Davis out of office. That's in Camilla, Georgia. It is a disgrace, y'all, but it's being documented. The news media will not connect the dots. I repeat, they will not connect the dots. And all the videos that I have done, I've done a lot of them because I love this nation and I love you. But the mainstream news media, they will not connect the dots. The Equipment 10+2, we know that the Equipment Free Press did not do you right. We know, Linda Harris, that the Thomasville Enterprise did not do you right. We showed on video wherein they lied on you. And so Rufus Davis knows about the press and how they have lied on him. And he's saying this on video when we met in Macon with all these attorneys across the state. Wait a minute. Then I was called to Lumpkin, Georgia. And when I received a call to go to Lumpkin, Georgia, I didn't know what to think because it sounded like it was a white person that called me and said, "RHYNES, I've been watching your videos and we want you to come to Lumpkin to see what is going on here." A white female city council called Mayor Charles Gibson a nigger. And when this white person called me, and before I got into town, there's a couple of security checks I often do, and that's what I did. And come to find out, well, I'm not going to tell you the position of the individual that called me, but he was a member of government himself. He said, "This racism got to stop." So I went in and I followed it. The rest is history. I'll skip right. Well, no, let me say this. I later found that Kenaya, I think her name, the female clerk, she was the clerk of a Lumpkin, city clerk. They got rid of her. She was the most qualified, most educated, but she had the wrong color skin. And here again, all these cities I just mentioned, you don't have to take my word for it. Please do not take my word for it. I don't want nobody to take my word for it. I want you to watch the videos and listen to the people in these communities. They are qualified, educated enough to explain beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is a pattern, this is a practice that is going on around the state of Georgia. But your white-dominated, white-controlled news media. They won't connect the dots like I have done. Because you see, they don't love you like I do, apparently. Wait a minute. Then I was called to Dawson, Georgia. At that time, I didn't know the full story, but Christopher Wright, black mayor of that town, was shot 6 times for whatever reason, left in his yard for dead. I went over there. I recorded. I interviewed the man that went to the man that saw him on the ground and rendered aid and called 911. He was there when they came. The police came. I interviewed him. Here again, I could be lying to you. So I don't want you to take what I'm saying here now. I want you to Google Douglas, Georgia, Christopher Wright, and get the story for yourself. Don't take my word for it. People call me and say I'm lying, but that's good, because I'm not talking on the videos for the most part. I got live witnesses telling their story. Wait a minute. When I was in Dawson, they cut across and somebody called me and told me I need to go to a place called Gordon, Georgia. I'd never been to Gordon before. I came through there, I think, when I was in the military. And so when I went there and I found out what they were doing to one historic figure in a town or city that is majority black. They elected the first black female, the first black mayor, and the first black mayor ever in that little town. And when she took office, Mayor Ann Whippaloo, she asked for a forensic audit. And she asked for the accounting of the money. Now, according to her, listen, you don't have to take my word. According to her, white people said before she took office, you better do a forensic audit to get a handle on the money, because a man by the name of Kenneth Turner was the mayor before her. And they told her that if you don't get accounted on the money, you may be in jail, because these people have been taking the money in this city that belongs to the taxpayers. And that you could not trust the city attorney, Joseph Boone. Wait a minute. Now, you may say, Ryan, you don't like Joseph Boone. You don't like that law firm. No, that's not it. That is not it, my friends. When I report what I report, it is based on the facts. And I want anybody to disapprove me that the finance chair for Gordon is a name. Wait a minute. The finance chair for Gordon name is Terry Reese, the late Terry Reese. And as you know, he's no longer with us. But he said to me, out of his own mouth, I got some of it on tape because I did record some of his conversations. He said to me, Brother Ryan, no, that ain't what he called me. Brother G, I want to live to see all these crooks that's been taking money from Gordon. I want to see them behind bars. You've heard me say that before, and you're going to hear me say it again. Because Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. He's dead now, he's gone on. And who can say that some distress that was put upon him by seeking justice for the taxpayers in Gordon did not contribute to his untimely death? In the same manner that one of the Quitman 10+2, Latasha Head, died. She was a lupus patient. I talked to her father there in Quitman, and he said that the stress could very well have contributed to her death. How sad. Now, Mayor Ann Whippaloo had to fight her own city attorney, Joseph Boone, Attorney Green, the white supremacist, white citizen group of white people, her own black citizens, some of them black. They fought her all the way. They've taken her to court so many times, I can't count it. I went up to the Georgia Supreme Court of Appeals. She won a case there for the most part. Every time they bring up these bogus charges on her, she wins. And so they kept trying to get her out of office, but they was unsuccessful. And they just voted in the former mayor, Kenneth Turner. Well, my records show that from the founding of that little small town, there had never been a forensic audit. Yet there are questionable, very questionable actions and things, and even the city chart itself needs to be questioned. And guess what? They got a group called on City Council. This is the citizens call them the Garden Coalition. Now, y'all, let me move on. I'm sorry. It's just this thing is crazy, y'all. But to make a long story short, GMA, the Attorney General, old one, Sam Olens, and the governor, no one would step into these small towns and try to fix these problems. And so I'm going to continue to say that when someone get hurt at these meetings in these little towns, the state of Georgia, the state level leaders, including GMA, the Georgia Municipal Association, is to blame because they know this going on. The Atlanta Journal and Constitution will be to blame. CNN will also be guilty because I have sent them all this information for all these cities. The Georgia G.B.R. They all been informed about what's going on across the state of Georgia concerning voter suppression, voter intimidation, abating, and removing black mayors from office. They know. They know about it, man. The newspapers are a part of this pattern and practice. And when you Google Olivia Coley Pearson in Douglas, you will see this. You will see this. Let's leave Gordon. I got a lot I can say about Gordon. Then I was called to a place called Clayton County. Here we go again with voting impediments against a individual up there that stood before the Secretary of State's office in Macon. I got it recorded. All you have to do is Google Clayton County, Secretary of State on Boston G.B.R. channel, and get the rest of the story. Then I was called to another place called Warrington, Georgia, with George Ivey. He had to fight his own attorney just like all these other black mayors. It is as if though they don't have an attorney, they have to go out and hire an attorney to represent them, because all these city attorneys are fighting these black mayors, and it's a conspiracy. No. Extract that. Erase that. Forget that. I didn't mean conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. It is a documented pattern and practice to control, suppress, intimidate, and remove black from office in the state of Georgia, and Georgia state leaders are fully aware of it, if not participants in it, by ignoring it. I'll say it again. Georgia state leaders, including the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, and his lead investigator, Glenn Archie, was questioned concerning a meeting in Brooks County. And you all need to know the truth, for you can never be truly free until truth comes. So I could go further with the judge in that circuit over there in Warrington, but I'm going to move on forward. Then I was called to a place called Sparta, Georgia, in Hancock County. Hancock County. And then those people cried out because of an all-white Board of Election. They got rid of the blacks off the Board of Education. Board of Elections. And here again, you can see all that on my video. Let's move on. I can go further, but let me say one more thing. No, the Georgia newspapers would not connect the dots of all these places. The New York Times, it took the New York Times to go into Sparta and Hancock County and Google Sparta and the New York Times and see what they did on the case. Thank God for the New York Times. See, we still got some people who respect the founding fathers and our Constitution here in the United States, but too many free presses, newspaper, and television stations, they could give less. They couldn't give a heaven about the Constitution and your right to know. They don't care about the Constitution. They say they do, but they are proven by their action beyond a shadow of a doubt that they don't want the black story told. Thank God for social media. Thank you, Black Lives Matter. And you know, when we look at the NAACP, we've looked up to the NAACP for a long time. We looked up to the SCLC for a long time. We looked up to the Congressional Black Caucus a long time. We looked up to the Urban League for a long time. We even looked up to Jesse Jackson, the Rainbow Push Coalition, and other prominent black organizations. But do you not know that these black organizations now, do you think they came to Madison, Florida? Did they come? Well, no, I give them back. No, the NAACP in Florida did come to the Madison 9. I take that back. But did they come to Brooks County? Well, I guess Du Bois came, but when you look down at it, how much support did they get? When you go to Meigs, and you go to Lumpkin, and you go to Dawson, and you go to Gordon, Georgia, and you go to Warrenton, and you go to the other little town above Warrenton, and then you go to Sparta. What have your black newspapers, what has Ebony said about what I've been trying to paint to you all since 2008? What have 60 Minutes, if I can go out and do this investigations and don't get paid for it and come back and talk to you on Facebook, then many of you all you gotta do is share it with your friends. You won't even do that. It's sad what we're doing to ourselves. And then we want to blame white people. Why is it that 60 Minutes can't see and know what I know? And why is it that HLN can't publish what you have seen on my video? What's wrong? Why don't y'all call these newspapers and ask them, who are they serving? They say they're supposed to be the watchdog over government. Are they really the watchdog over government? Are we watching them like a dog because they're not doing anything to report and publish the black news when it comes down to voting rights and maintaining some level of right to hold office and to stay in office? I'm just going to hit other cities and I'm going to quit. Y'all excuse me, I can't help it, y'all. It just amazed me after I served my country for 21 years and I watched these white-owned, white-dominated, and white-controlled newspapers and television stations and radio stations just totally ignore black folk. And then when they see you a veteran, they say, thank you for your service, thank you for your service, thank you for... And they're liars. They are liars. They are indeed liars. If they don't report news in that community, and if they don't report this that I've reported, how can they say they love the veterans? How can they say they love the active duty people? How can they say they love the disabled and those who died in combat when you won't even report the truth about their children and about the mothers and fathers whose children are wearing a uniform today? And they just ignore them, treat them like 3/5 of a human being. Oh, yes, somebody got to tell America the truth about herself so she can save herself from herself before she destroy herself. And I'm one that gonna do it. I took a code of conduct on as it was my own backbone, the spinal cord. They made us, well, they didn't make us, but I chose to memorize the code of conduct that I am an American fighting man prepared to give my life in the defense of this country against both foreign and domestic enemies. I said that and I meant that and I lived that. Most all my armor performance report was the highest could be given. All 9, straight 9, not just, anyway, so much for that. So then I was called to a place called Davisboro, Georgia, where they were scared of the white police officers. Then I was called to Broxton, Georgia, where they hadn't had an audit in God knows how long, and they say that the individual there took $750,000, and the district attorney ain't brought him to court yet. I left there. I went to Willacoochee, Georgia, where some people voting rights. The one individual drove a state car, going out to get people to vote for him in a state car, also paying people to vote. I'm talking in Willacoochee, Georgia. Then I did the Justice League United, the NAACP, and other civil rights organizations called me and met me at a press conference where all the news media was informed, and not a one showed up. Only me. I was the only somebody showed up, and I got it, and I recorded it. It's on YouTube, and you reviewed it, and you continue to see it. because you and your children served in the armed forces of the United States of America to guarantee the rights of white people. You fought and served your nation to make sure that America would be a free and democratic society, but yet they ignore you like you are 3/5 of a human being, and that's the truth. And so I'm saying it like I've said it before. Why should black go fight for this country? If there is a war with North Korea, I'm saying black folk have no business going. And those in the military need to get out until white American can ensure that our rights are protected, number one. I'm talking the right to vote. And that we get the right of freedom of movement in this country without the restrictions and impediment and being killed around the country by white police officers. Mostly male. Wait a minute, haven't finished yet. Left Willacoochee, let's go to Douglas, Georgia. I just left the court this week with Olivia Coley Pearson. I put my paperwork in according to the law, and Judge Spivey and the circuit courts in Coffee County, in that area, they don't give a dime about the law. Judge Spivey passed me, gave him my card. Let me just put it like this. What they are doing to Olivia Coley Pearson is a total disgrace, and the state of Georgia need to be called out on that. It is a disgrace. They charge 4 people of voter fraud for assisting people to vote. It just didn't make sense from the start, and it don't make sense now. One black man by the name of Curtis, we went to Louisiana. They paid our way to go to Louisiana to help paint this picture of what the white man is doing to stop the black man. So we got in Louisiana, met people from across the 2 states. It was a very interesting meeting. And then Curtis bowed out, plea bargained. The other Democrat, a white lady, she pleaded out. Another white lady, she pleaded out. And only one person, Olivia Coley Pearson, she said, I didn't do nothing wrong, and I'm not going to bow down to these wicked people who are trying to destroy my reputation, my image, and my character. Deposition of character. And so she went to court. She's still fighting. I think she was originally had 5 charges against her. They cut them all down to 1 now. Shouldn't have been in the courtroom in the first place. But yet and still, that's not news for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. All these places, from Madison, Florida, all the way around to Douglas, Georgia, is not news to the white people. White people could care less about that. That don't even concern them. They saying to hell with you black folk. We not going to tell your story. You tell your own story. You black. You 3/5 of a human being. We not going to tell your story because we control the newspapers, we control the TV, and we control the radio. Report it for your damn self. That's what they're saying to you. And they're laughing at you as well. And they're going to continue to laugh at you. They're laughing at your children as they wear the uniform for the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, the Marine, the Special Force. They're laughing at you, black man, woman, and your children. They're laughing at you, man. If they didn't laugh at you, they would respect you when you have newsworthy information or stories. They don't. And then they tell you, thank you for your service. Put on that old, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Oh, thank you for your service. Thank you. You served this nation. You served for them. But did you serve to protect your own rights and the rights of your mother and your father? Now let's get down and let's do serious talk here, because we're talking about our children's lives. Why should we go fight in North Korea? And our Newspapers don't fight for us. Our TV stations will not report us. It's time for a change, y'all. Then from there, I went to Homerville, Georgia, where in Witherspoon had 2 homestead exemptions, one in Florida and one in here in Lowndes County, holding office down there in Clinch County. These white folk do anything they want to, boy. We can just imagine what's happening to the children who go through the judicial system here in the state of Georgia. Even the judges is corrupt. Many of the lawyers already done sold y'all out, and you know it. You come and tell me about it. What I don't understand is why these black judges and these black lawyers who know what's going on, and they won't say a heavenly thing about it. They'll talk to me in the bathroom with the door closed and we get in the commode. They'll tell me about what's going on then. Yeah, I got white lawyers. And 2 white judges tell me what's going on. But they won't tell it publicly. Yeah. Place corrupt, y'all. I mean, it's corrupt bad, man. A lot of your children in jail and prisons, they ain't doing that, man. They just caught up in this system. And so, all of us can't go to sleep at the wheel. Some of us just can't stay in church and holler, hallelujah, hallelujah, and hallelujah. All of us can't do that. Some of us got to stand up for the real ark of the covenant of truth so we can let people know that God is real. God is real, and he extends beyond the church house. If all you can do is go to church, go to mosque, go to synagogue, go to temple, and placate, duplicate, and imitate the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I used to do that, but I fell on my way to the bus station, bumped my head, and I was never the same again. I'm going to leave you now. Y'all excuse me, I started this to say congratulations to Mayor Dennard, Nancy Dennard, but it went beyond that. I'm pregnant, y'all. My stomach not sticking out, but I'm pregnant. I'm trying to give birth to new minds, man. You see, I used to be a traditional church person. I just went to church, and that's all I did, man. That's all I did. One day I'll tell y'all about what happened to me in Conway, South Carolina, when I was a traditional believer in God, they say. But I wasn't doing nothing for his children. Then Jesus said, when I was outdoors, you took me not in. I was hungry and you fed me not. I was in pain and you had a leave and you wouldn't even give me a half a pill. You could have kept the other half for yourself. You wouldn't even do it. So I fell on my way to the bus station. I fell down, but I got up for you. And I'm going to continue to do it until the end. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Now, these videos I cut don't go viral. Now, if I want to cut some viral videos, I come in here and, yeah, I know I make them long. But if I came in and cut a video and put a little sex in it and do a little cussing and rap a little bit and tap on somebody's booty or something like that, you all would just send it viral. But you see, that don't produce life. That don't educate you. That entertain you. And I'm not in the entertainment business. I'm for education because, look, in conclusion, ignorance will destroy us. You what I say? Yes. Ignorance will destroy us, but education can save us. And let me break this word education down so my phone don't cut off. The word education is not entertainment and is not training. Education came from a word called edusere. And edusere means to pull out from within what is already there. So that means that God have already put in our children what they need. We just have to find a way to reach inside of our children and inside of our people and pull out the greatness that God put in them from birth. So don't think you're doing something good when you educate our children. You're only bringing out what God put in them. And it's our responsibility to reach in and pull out. So the beauty of God And the beauty of the child can be revealed and appreciated in the way of holiness and righteousness. And when we do that, then I will say, man, you did a great church movement. Yeah, that's what the church is all about. Yeah, y'all have a nice day. Bye-bye, we're gone. Power to the people. Let me close with this. No man has power over the spirit to retain the spirit. Ecclesiastes 8 and 8. Bye-bye. We go.
Greetings. This is the Get To Free Press, and we report what others ignore. This is your First Amendment right to know without whiteouts from a controlled news media whiteout network. And we are located in Valdosta, Georgia, and we are here to inform, educate, and persuade if necessary. Always keep that in mind. Moreover, I want to say to you that as a community, state, nation, and world, we are not who we claim to be, but who we prove ourselves to be over a given period of time. And if we are a liar, time will tell. And if we are a racist or a hater, time will tell. And our righteous and holy God already know. So you are only fooling yourselves. Again, the Ghetto Free Press. I'm George Foster RHYNES.